through, I think so, almost 15, 16, 13 or 14 modules, and he knows the strategies, and he's been working hard, learning the strategies, and he's loving it. He's absolutely loving it. But let me tell you something different today. And he said, you know what? He said, all that I learned it seems like it's all a waste. I said, why? He said, because now Paul has created this AI bot that can do it for me. he said, even now somebody, a baby can do this. He was saying, like, if somebody who's 100-year-old never used a computer, he can do it. You don't.
It literally, before, we've made it so simple on the market index, we've made it so simple anyway, where you see a line going up and a line going down, and when they start turning direction, you do it. You haven't even got to do that with a new one. It actually comes on the screen and says red bar sell, and you just literally, oh, it's a red bar, I just press sell, you know. It's made it even easier. They haven't even got to look at which line is going where. It just says bang, sell, away you go.
Blind people, let me tell you, do you know what? Let me explain this to you guys. Like, up till the event, people were using, we created a bot now that's going to do your job. Like, we spent few 100,000.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Okay, to create a bot now. Now that means Bizzcareer, what people have been learning from last 3-4 months, let me tell you now, it's 10 times, or I would say it's 100 times easier now. It's really, really, really easy. We're using smart work, not hard work now. That's why it's going to be very easy. Somebody who's got no clue, they can do it as well. Everyone can do this. That's why I don't want to spoil the surprise. But let me tell you, I can't think of a person who can't do it. Let me tell you, my dad can do it. My mom can do it. Even your mom or your dad can do it. Even they have not used a computer before. Anybody can do this. And I was talking to Paul the other day. His 7-year-old daughter can do it. Okay, we taught her, and now she can do it as well. And she's 7 years old.
Yeah, I give her 2 weeks. I give her 2 weeks worth of charts, and I asked her to pick out every trade and where she would enter, and she only got one wrong.
Beautiful. Now, we've got Aniko here as well.
Have we? Okay.
If you could make Aniko a host as well, that she can also be, now, Aniko, if you don't mind, if anybody tries to, comes up, can you admit them into, because they go into a waiting room. So if you can admit everyone, please, if you don't mind.
Yes, no problem. Thank you.
Okay, that's fine. It's your job. You know what? Thank you very much, Aniko, for everything on the event, for all the help, because she was in charge of Bitcoin ladies.
Oh yes.
And she's done well by she was telling them what to do, when to come on the stage, and she was brilliant. That's why thank you very much, Aniko, for doing that.
That's my pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Always here to help.
Now we got Yet as well here. Yet McDonald, nice to see you.
Rizwan, I'm making you co-host so you can allow people in as well. Okay, Rizwan, if you see, because do you know we're up to nearly 260 members. Hi, Aniko, I can see you now.
I think so. It's 10 past now, guys. So we should really start.
Okay.
Sorry, back to you. I think so. We are all excited, and please, guys, if you have friends and family that you really care about, ask them to join here, because people are struggling. These are difficult times. People have lost jobs. You know what? Even people who have got jobs, we've got a smart way of making money now. You can sit home and spend time with your wife, spend time with your partner, spend time with your children, spend time with your parents, spend time with your friends, go out, have fun, live your life, and make money sitting at home. This is unbelievable. We got you a world-class service. And now, especially with our new AI technology, let me tell you guys, we're giving it, Paul is giving it to you on the plate, guys. That's why, please make sure that everyone is on this call, because now this is for everyone. Now this is for everyone. That's why let me pass it to, it's so simple that it's crazy.
We've lost you.
Sorry, let me pass it back to Paul, guys. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, so are we recording this? Yes, I think we are, aren't we? Is it recording on?
Yes. One thing I'll remind everybody that please put alarm for this time for next few days, because I was going to forget. So please put alarm on your phones for 8 p.m. daily or 7:50.
Let me just share screens. And we'll make a start. I'm also going to be recording as well separately. Okay, so welcome to the Bizzcareer presentation. Can somebody just stick their thumb up to tell me, Aniko, you can see me and you can see the presentation? Yes, Rizwan, thank you very much. Well, good evening, everybody. We're coming off the back of a major mega event, and in that event, I put forward to everybody who was there an expanded Bizzcareer. Now then, what I'm going to do in the next couple of days is not just talk about Bizzcareer. That's the last thing I want to do. I'm going to do that on Friday, so you know what's happening very clearly. Each evening this week at 8 p.m., we will be doing a training session. You will learn a little bit more each day about the Forex markets. So we're going to teach you some of the basics so that you who might not have known about Forex before, not sure what Forex is, you're going to get a basic understanding, but also you're going to get the knowledge that makes sense, that tells you that if you learn Forex trading correctly, you are going to make money from it. The great thing about it is Bizzcareer has been running for a little while now, and we have results which are outstanding. We haven't got to say we've got an amazing service. We've proved it since we first started, and our members are doing very, very well. But that will be Friday. What we'll do after the training course on Friday is I will do the new Bizzcareer presentation. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, about half an hour, 20 minutes, half an hour, teaching you a little bit more each day about the Forex markets. And then on Friday, after the final 4th module of training, I'm going to show you, and it'll be the first shown the brand new Bizzcareer presentation, so you can get a full understanding of what Bizzcareer is and how you can benefit from it. So we're going into training module 1 today. It's an initial introduction. I'm going to give you some basic information about Forex and what Forex is. Now in training module 1, first of all, you're going to get to know a little bit about who is this guy that's training everybody and giving people so much success. Then we're going to look at what Forex actually is. We're going to look at something called currency pairs. And then we're going to look at the Forex market size itself. Now, a little bit about me. Let me tell you a little bit about me. In my past roles, I have had very, very senior positions in blue chip companies. I've run major blue chip companies up to 500 million in industry, in manufacturing. I've run those companies worldwide, not just in the UK. They've been worldwide operations. And my expertise is going into companies and making them more efficient, looking at what they don't do good and improving them, looking at the efficiencies and improving those efficiencies, the quality of the product that is given out. How do we make it better? How do we make it the best in the market? So now you can see that I can take industrial skills and put it into biz trade. Also, And many years ago, I then started opening, and I've got a very famous academy in the UK. And I'm the CEO of a major UK training academy for Forex. So I've been doing this an awful long time. I've trained thousands of Forex traders, and I train them in a very different way than everybody else does. And I've also a fund manager. I'm the CEO of a fund management company. So I think I have the credentials maybe to teach people. Now, in my current role, so what is my current role within BizTrade? Well, first of all, I'm the Chief Operating Officer of BizTrade. Now, then one of the main jobs that I do is counsel to the owners. I provide them with my knowledge on various things that are happening within the business, and I give them basically my counsel on what I think about them. But the thing is, I give them most probably a very different slant on what networkers would do, because I'm not a networker. That's the last thing that I am. So I provide them with my counsel, whether they listen to me or whatever, it doesn't matter. I'm providing them what my thoughts are on different areas. And that's what counsel does. And it allows the co-founders then to make a judged decision on whatever they want. And I'm one of a few people who do that within the company. Secondly, I am the person who designed and actually developed the Bizzcareer service based on 10 years of training people in Forex, looking at the good, bad, and the ugly within the business and making something which is very, very special. That has looked at all the best that we have done over the last 10 years and put them together into one comprehensive service. And I'm the head of the Bizzcareer team. I have a great team who work with me and for me to make sure that we provide Bizzcareer to the highest possible standards and give you the best educational course going. Now then, there's a difference. You can teach people and you can teach people. Now, what do I mean by that? You can teach a person to be an amazing technical Forex knowledgeable trader, but they don't make any money. Yeah, they know everything. They're the guru and they know everything about it, but actually making money from the markets, they can tell you the ins and outs of Forex trade, but actually making money, they often don't. We teach you how to make money in the markets and understand how to be a professional Forex trader. There's a difference. So what is Forex? Let's explain what Forex actually is. Now, if we look at the Forex world, there are a number of different things to it. First of all, it's a global market. Forex industry is a global market. In fact, the biggest global market in the world. And Forex is basically an exchange rate between two different currencies, a pound to a dollar. So an exchange rate is how many pounds you get to a dollar, how many dollars you get to a pound. Now, when you go on holidays, you're going to go to one of the exchanges and exchange your pounds. Say you're going to America for US dollars. You're participating in the Forex market because what you're doing is you're selling the GBP and you're buying a certain number of US dollars. So all of you have probably made a trade because you will have gone to some form of foreign land. Now then, we have something which is called the foreign exchange market. And in the foreign exchange market, all of the currencies in the world are traded against other currencies. So that is what the foreign exchange market is. Now, let me just give you a little bit greater understanding of this, because as I said, if I do it, you're going to get the full understanding of exactly what it is. Oops, sorry, there's something going on with that presentation there. There we go. So as I said, quite simply, it's a global market that allows two currencies to be traded against each other. If you think one currency will be stronger against another and you end up being correct, you actually make a profit. So you're working out which of the currencies in the markets will go in a certain direction. Now, the exchange rate is basically the relative price of two currencies from two different countries. As I said, you've often exchanged most probably a currency against another. Now, the foreign exchange market which is Forex, or FX for short, is the largest financial market in the world. It's actually the largest industry in the world. Now, the foreign exchange market is global. It's also a decentralized market where the world's currencies change hands. Now, exchange rates, if you look at its exchange rates, they vary by the second. An exchange rate fluctuates constantly during a day. Now, only a tiny percentage of currencies and transaction happen in what we call the real economy. Okay, it is involving international trade, and you know, when you go and exchange your money in a travel X place, that is a tiny part of it. The main part is currency traders, people trading currencies, speculating on which direction a market is going to go. Now, if you look at, say, the New York Stock Exchange, that runs about $22.5 billion per day of trading volume. Or Bitcoin, just 2 billions per day. Now, the foreign exchange market, so I've just explained to you there about the New York Stock Exchange, one of the biggest exchanges in the world, 22.4 billion a day. Yes, absolutely enormous. But the foreign exchange market is a monster. You actually have around 5 to 5.5 trillion a day being traded. Microsoft, a couple of weeks ago, I don't know if you saw it, but in the news, Microsoft said, we are the first $1 trillion company. The Forex industry trades 5 to 6 trillion a day, not one, but a day. And we have many days in a year, as you know. It is far bigger by far than all the cryptos, stock exchanges, shares and options traded and bonds traded all over the world. Now let's put that into perspective. The Forex market, as I said, is absolutely enormous. Now you hear about the New York Stock Exchange, say in the news every day on CNBC or Bloomberg. The Dow is up today. What does that actually mean? The Dow is down today. Now, when people talk about the market, they normally mean the stock market. So the New York Stock Exchange sounds big. My God, the Dow's gone down. But that's tiny compared to what's happened in the Forex markets. It is just a little itch that needs to be scratched. In the whole of the markets in the world, the huge exchanges are just a tiny itch that's got to be scratched. Now then, if you look at that sort of puts it into perspective. Those are the market volumes. Now, aside from the market being that big, it rarely closes. It's virtually around the clock. The Forex market is open 24 hours a day, 5 days a week. It only closes during the weekend. It doesn't close at the end of every business day. It just shifts to a different financial center. Now then, the day starts when traders wake up in Auckland or Wellington. Then they move to Sydney. Then it goes to Singapore, Hong Kong, Tokyo, Frankfurt, London, and finally across the Atlantic to New York before it all starts again. Now then, the Asians, we have really a couple of main sessions. We call it the Asian session, the UK session, and the American session, the US session. The UK session has more money traded in it than the US and the Asian session pushed together. There you go. Have a look at this chart. If we put the New York Stock Exchange, the Tokyo Stock Exchange, and the London Stock Exchange together, they hardly even go up the graph, do they? Look at the Forex market, the daily trading volume of the Forex market compared to everything else. It really is a monster. Now then, what's traded? Well, the simple answer to this is money is traded. Because you're not buying anything physical, when you trade Forex, physical, Forex trading can be confusing. So I'm going to explain it very, very simply. Okay, it's a little bit imperfect. There's a little bit of imperfection about what I'm saying, but you'll get the understanding. Thinking of buying a currency as buying a share in, say, a particular country. It's kind of like, you know, buying a share in a company, but you're buying a share in a country, not a company. Now, the price of the currency is usually a direct reflection of how the market looks at the health of that country. In Forex, when you say, I know, buy Japanese yen, basically what you are doing is buying a share of the Japanese economy. As a basic example, you are betting that the Japanese economy is doing well. If you place a buy, you think that the Japanese is doing well. This is actually called a derivative, because what you're doing is you don't own the money, but you are speculating on which direction the currency will go. Okay, that's what you're actually doing. Once you sell back into the market, you should end up with a profit, especially if the Japanese yen has gone in the right direction. So that is what you do. And if you look at exchange rates in general, the exchange rate of a currency versus other currency is a reflection of the condition of that country's economy compared to another country's economy. Now let's have a look at the major currencies. Now, while there are potentially lots of currencies you can trade, the best thing to obviously do is start with the major currencies. Now, they're the ones that are most heavily traded, and they represent the world's largest economies. Forex traders differ on what they consider as the main currencies. They always do. It's all according to what country you live in. But really, you would have to look and consider the major currencies as being the US dollar, the euro, the Japanese yen, the British pound, and the Swiss franc. Now then, we also have three other currencies. Now they're labeled as something called commodity currencies. That's the Aussie dollar, the New Zealand dollar, and the CAD. Now, they always have symbols. Okay, they have three letters, where the first two letters identify the name of the country. So GBP, for instance, as I said, you're learning a lot here. This isn't waffle about Bizzcareer or something. I'm teaching you information about the Forex markets. I said we would give you free information on exactly how the Forex markets work, and you are getting it. So let's take GBP. Well, GB is for Great Britain, and the P is for a pound. USD means the first two letters, United States, and then the currency, dollar. Now, the commodity currencies are Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar, and CAD. The reason we call those commodity currencies are they are based on something tangible. They are based on commodities. So they are affected by the price of lamb, the oil market in Canada. Okay, so the reason we call those commodity currencies are they based on certain commodities like oil, you know, like livestock, etc. As I said, the currencies always have three letters, and now you know what they actually mean. Now, did you know that the British pound is actually the world's oldest currency that is still in use? It dates back to the 8th century. Now, the newest currency in the world is something called the South Sudanese pound, and that was made official on July the 18th, 2011. Currencies are traded through companies called brokers or dealers, and they are traded in pairs. In other words, currencies are quoted in relation to another currency. For example, the euro and the US dollar. The currency pair is euro USD, or the British pound, say, against the Japanese yen. You will see the currency pair as GBP JPY. So when you trade the Forex markets, you don't trade a currency, you trade a currency pair. In other words, it would be, how is the GBP going to do against the Japanese yen? Now imagine each currency pair they're constantly in a tug of war, with each currency on either side of the rope. That's the best way to describe it. And one's going to pull harder than the other, and that's the way the direction's going to go. That is basically what trading is. Now, an exchange rate is the price of those two currencies from two different countries. And they are listed in a number of different things. You have major currencies, you have the crosses, and you have something called exotics. So let's take a quick look at, say, major currencies. So the major currencies that are traded are US dollar on one side, and normally the other pairs that I told you, like euro or Japanese yen or GBP or CAD, Swiss franc. Now, they are the majors. What did you see? You saw that the US dollar, I talked about the US dollar in every one. So the major currencies always have the US dollar against one of the other majors, like pound, like Japanese yen, etc. Now, you also have the minor crosses. Now, the minor crosses don't involve the US dollar. And then you have, so as an example, GBP against Japanese yen. That would be classed as a minor cross because the US dollar isn't in it. And then you have exotics. Now, exotics are very unusual type of currencies. You have a lot of Scandinavian currencies in the exotics. But the majors are the most liquid markets in the world. So the majors are where the main money is being put by all the institutions, the hedge funds, the liquidity providers. So let's talk a little bit about liquidity. Okay, what I'm going to do here is just quickly show you a couple of items. If you look at these currencies that I've shown you, then you can see very clearly here, USD is United States. The currency is the dollar. It's also got a nickname. I'm sure the Americans will know this one. It's a buck. Yeah, give me a couple of bucks. You've heard that in the American movies. For instance, the pound, as an example, is called the cable. And believe it or not, the Canadian dollar, and I'm not going to say anything about the Canadians, but it is called the loonie, believe it or not. And you've got the Aussie and the Kiwi. So they're called different things. Now let's talk about liquidity. Liquidity is used to describe the level of activity in a financial market. In Forex, liquidity is based on the buying and selling of specific currency pairs and the volume that's being traded. Now, the more frequently that volume, a currency is being traded, the greater number of active buyers and sellers there are. So say, for instance, the euro US dollar is more liquid than the Aussie dollar and regularly traded. If you look at the GBP USD and the euro USD, they're the two most highly traded currencies. Now, the crosses, when I told you that they were minor crosses, now the major currencies for minor crosses would be euro, Japanese yen, and GBP. Those are the three. Now, you can get markets changing dramatically, and therefore the movement of a market can vary. It can be very quiet, and then all of a sudden, when we suddenly we expect the Brexit vote to be yes and it was no, the market's plunged phenomenally, and a lot of people lost a lot of money. It's the pebble in the pond scenario. So if you look at the major markets, that's the one with the most liquidity. It's the biggest pool of money, and you have to have a pool of money for people to be able to go in and trade it. You have to trade. Therefore, you have to place that trade somewhere, and that's your pond of money. Now, the smaller the pond, when you place throw a stone into it, it creates greater ripples. Yeah, so it moves more. So what you see is with the major markets, they don't move as much when there's a big item happens, a big news item happens, because even though you're throwing a boulder into that pond now, that pond's pretty enormous. You get bigger ripples, but not massives. In the exotics, they are very hard to trade because the tiniest of movement or a change can make a huge movement in the market. So some key points. Let's have a look at some key points. Now, the bulk of Forex trading takes place on something called the interbank market. Now, this is different to the stock exchanges and the London stock exchanges. Now, it's neither a physical location or a central bank. The interbank is something like in the ether almost. Now, the Forex market is considered something called an over-the-counter market because the entire market is run electronically within a network of banks. continuously over a 24-hour period. In fact, there's a matrix which those banks all fit into called the FIX matrix. It's the flow of liquidity through the world, the financial index matrix. Now, that means the Forex market is spread all over the globe. There's no central location. Just like Bitcoin. Is it a business? Is it a company? Do you buy Bitcoin packages? No, you don't. Forex is exactly the same. It's all over the world. It isn't controlled by one person or any person. Now, you can place trades so long as you have an internet connection, actually. Now, the Forex market is by far the largest market in the world. And it's traded globally by 10 million people. If you take out the over 75s and under 18s who can't trade anyway, there's about 1 to every 480 people in the world trade Forex. That, everybody, if you just think about it, is a phenomenal number. Now, volumes, let me just go back for a second. If you look at volumes, now the US dollar is the most traded currency, even though the UK session is the highest traded volume, the actual currency that is traded in that time, the highest one is the US dollar. In fact, it normally accounts for around 75% of all trades. That's how big it is. So the US dollar is king. In some countries, for instance, did you know with oil, you can't actually buy oil in your own currency. Oil is traded in dollars. No matter whether you're in Dubai, no matter whether you're in Malaysia, no matter whether you're in the US or in Russia, it's traded by dollars. Okay, a barrel is worth a certain number of dollars. So the US dollar is so important within the world's finance markets that it actually dominates most of those markets. There's also another significant reason why the US dollar plays a central role. Okay, the US economy is the biggest economy in the world. The US military is bigger than every single other country's military put together. It's the largest and most liquid financial market using the US dollar. They are the world's sole military superpower. Russia is actually tiny compared to them. And the US dollar, therefore, crosses many different borders. As I said, you look at oil, it's actually called petrodollars. Oil is traded in petrodollars, but it's basically a dollar. So say if Mexico wants to buy oil from Saudi Arabia, it can only be bought in US dollars. It can't be bought in pesos, as an example. Now, one important thing to note about the Forex market is that while commercial and financial transactions are all part of the trading volume, most currency, as I said, is traded on speculation, which way the market is going to go. Now, if we look at the distribution in the Forex markets, you can see very clearly on here, 84.9% of the currency distribution in the world is in the Forex markets. The euro is 39%. Then you've got the Japanese yen at 19%, and you've got the GBP at about 13%. Those are the four biggest. But you can see by far that the US dollar is the biggest one to trade. Now then, we've had a look at the major economies. What we're going to do next is look a little bit at liquidity. And what I want to do is explain liquidity. Now, the scale of the Forex markets purely means the liquidity, the size of the pool. Now, it's the amount of buying and selling volume that happens at every given time, and it's extremely high. We have something called the market index, where we have a node. It's rare. This company actually has a node, and is the only non-institutional company in the world to have this. It has a node. We have a node inside that fixed matrix. We can actually see what the big boys are doing, and all we do is jump on the bandwagon at the right time. Now, from the perspective of a trader, liquidity is very important because liquidity determines how easy price can change over a given time. Now, a liquid market environment like Forex enables huge trading volumes to happen with very little effect on the price. So we have seen, and I'm just thinking now, Anika, we've seen up to $17 billion. It's about 17 billion in 5 minutes. I've just had a sign on my screen to say you are, oh, sorry, I'm now unmuted. Thank you. Somebody muted me. And I'm the presenter. Okay, let's continue. So if you look at the Forex market, the major markets are where the major amount of money is and the major losses are and the major profits. Now with Bizzcareer, thankfully, we're on the other side. We can see what's going on. So we're in the profit side of the business. Now that's given you quite a lot of information. We've been going for 30 minutes. So I'm hoping that you have seen and got an idea of what the Forex markets actually are, why the Forex markets are the biggest industry in the world. And of course, when you have that much money swilling through the Forex markets, you can understand why the most number of millionaires in any industry are in the Forex markets. And what we do is we teach you how to go and look at those Forex markets, learn how those Forex markets work, and give you an amazing ability to make profits for the rest of your life. This isn't a course where you do the course and that's the end of it. We teach you trading and how to trade, not just for the duration of the course, but for the rest of your life. And that is the end of training module 1. I look forward to teaching you a little bit more in training module 2 tomorrow. Thank you. There we go. I had